Stop looking at the stars for a second and look in the mirror. Look at your hands, look at your eyes. Now imagine a million years of change. We have spent decades scanning the sky, building massive radio telescopes like SETI and listening for signals from deep space, convinced that the answers to the UFO phenomenon are light years away. We assume that if intelligent beings are visiting us, they must be from another planet, crossing the vast, impossible distances of interstellar space. We assume they are strangers, but what if we are wrong? What if the distances they are crossing aren't spatial, but temporal? What if the reason aliens look so strangely familiar to eyes, to arms, to legs, big heads is because they aren't aliens at all? There is a theory that has circulated in the dark corners of the Pentagon, the CIA, and academic circles for years. It is called the extraterrestrial model, and it suggests something far more terrifying than an invasion from Mars. It suggests that the beings piloting those crafts are not visitors. They are our grandchildren. They are humans from a dying future, coming back to study their own history, or perhaps coming back to try and save it. To understand why this theory is gaining so much traction, even among serious scientists like Dr. Michael Masters, a professor of biological anthropology, we have to look at the hard data of human evolution. Evolution is not random, it follows trends, it leaves a trail. If you look at the human timeline, from our Australopithecine ancestors to modern Homo sapiens, you see a very clear trajectory. This process is known as neoteny, the retention of juvenile traits into adulthood. We are losing our hair. Our jaws are getting smaller as our diet softens. Our muscle mass is decreasing as we rely more on tools and less on brute strength. Our limbs are lengthening, and most importantly, our brains are getting bigger. The cranium is expanding to house a more complex neocortex, reshaping the entire architecture of the skull. Now, take that trajectory and project it forward. Not just 1,000 years, but 100,000 years, or 1,000,000. What does a human look like at the end of that line? If we continue to rely on technology, if we move off-world into low-gravity environments, or if we retreat underground to escape a scorched surface, our bodies will adapt. They would likely become hairless, as climate control makes hair obsolete. Their bodies would be frail and thin, atrophied by gravity-controlled environments and a total reliance on machines for every physical task. Their jaws would be tiny, almost vestigial, as processed nutrient pastes eliminate the need for chewing power. And their heads would be enormous. Bulbous containers for a hyper-evolved brain that processes information at speeds we can't comprehend. Their eyes would likely be larger, pitch black, perhaps genetically engineered or covered by permanent lenses to process more visual data, see in different spectrums, or adapt to the dimmer environments of space or underground bunkers. Look at that description again. Hairless, frail, big head, big eyes, small jaw. It is the exact, precise description of the grey alien reported in thousands of abduction cases and sightings since the 1940s. Is it a coincidence that the most common alien witness description matches the exact evolutionary projection of the human species? Or is it evidence? This biological connection solves one of the biggest problems with the extraterrestrial hypothesis. If aliens evolved on a completely different planet, with different gravity, different atmosphere, and a different star, the chances of them looking humanoid are statistically zero. Evolution on Earth produced crabs, octopuses, and birds. Why would a planet around Zeta Reticuli produce a bipedal humanoid that looks just like a distorted version of us? It doesn't make sense, unless they share our DNA, unless they share our ancestry. The physical similarities aren't convergent evolution, they are family resemblance. We are looking at our own reflection in a funhouse mirror, distorted by time and tragedy. But if they are us, how are they getting here? This brings us to the physics of the problem. For a long time, we thought time travel was pure fantasy. But general relativity doesn't forbid it. In fact, Einstein's equations allow for closed time-like curves. Solutions like the Tipler cylinder or traversable wormholes theoretically allow for movement backward in time. We know that gravity bends time. We know that speed distorts time. Astronauts on the ISS age slightly slower than people on Earth. The leap to navigating time is huge, but it might be easier than navigating the galaxy. Think about the energy required to travel from one star to another. It is astronomical. You have to accelerate to near light speed, survive cosmic radiation for decades, and dodge dust particles that hit like nuclear bombs. It is a logistical nightmare. However, if you master the manipulation of gravity, which UFOs seem to do, given how they accelerate without sonic booms and make right-angled turns at Mach 20, then you might also master time, because gravity and time are the same fabric. A civilization that can build a craft capable of anti-gravity is, by definition, a civilization that can manipulate the flow of time. They wouldn't need to cross trillions of miles of empty space. They would just need to lock onto a specific coordinate in their own past, hour, present, and step through. The ticking clock of the universe is not absolute. It is a coordinate system, and if you have the technology to warp space, you have the technology to warp time. This explains why they are so obsessed with us. In UFO abduction reports, there is a recurring clinical theme. The beings are rarely interested in our art, our politics, or our culture. They don't ask about our leaders. They are obsessed with our biology. They take sperm, they take eggs, they take tissue samples, they perform reproductive procedures. Why would an alien from another star need human DNA? It would be biologically incompatible and useless to them. You cannot breed a human with a starfish. But if they are future humans, suddenly it makes perfect sense. Imagine a future where the human genome has been corrupted, maybe by radiation from a nuclear war, maybe by chemical pollution, maybe by genetic engineering gone wrong. They might be a dying race, unable to reproduce, their DNA shattering after millennia of artificial manipulation and environmental collapse. In this scenario, we aren't lab rats to them. We are the seed bank. We are the pristine ancestors. We are the source code before the corruption. They are coming back to harvest the genetic material they lost, trying to splice the vitality of the past into the dying bodies of the future. It explains the medical nature of the encounters. It explains the lack of emotion. They look at us the way we look at a petri dish, necessary resources to solve a scientific problem. It's not malice, it's survival. They are trying to cure themselves using parts from us. Then there is the behavior of the craft themselves. They don't land on the White House lawn. They don't invade, they observe. They hover over nuclear silos. They shadow military exercises. They watch major historical events. This looks exactly like the behavior of historians or anthropologists. If we developed time travel today, we wouldn't go back to fight the Roman Empire, we would go back to watch. We would send drones to observe the building of the pyramids or the Battle of Gettysburg. We would want to document our history without interfering. This matches the Prime Directive style behavior of UFOs. They are elusive. They are ghosts. They are here to witness the turning points of their own history. But there is one specific area where they do interfere, and this is the most chilling piece of evidence. Nuclear weapons. Since the 1940s, there have been hundreds of documented cases of UFOs hovering over nuclear missile sites in the US and Russia and shutting them down. In the famous Malmstrom Air Force Base incident in 1967, 10 nuclear missiles went offline simultaneously while a glowing red disk hovered over the gate. Why? If they were aliens from space, why would they care if we blow ourselves up? The universe is big. One monkey species destroying itself doesn't matter. But if they are human, if this is their planet too, then nuclear war matters more than anything. If we destroy the Earth today, we destroy their home tomorrow. We destroy their history. We destroy their timeline. Their interference with nuclear weapons suggests they are trying to preserve the timeline. They are like gardeners pruning a tree, ensuring the branch that leads to their existence doesn't get cut off. It feels like they are watching a car crash in slow motion. Maybe this era right now is the bottleneck, the moment where humanity almost didn't make it, the great filter. They might be coming back to pinpoint the exact moment where the timeline went wrong. Are they trying to fix it, or are they just here to salvage what they can before the collapse? This also sheds light on the uncanny valley effect. You know that feeling of revulsion when you see something that looks human, but isn't quite right, like a corpse or a bad robot. We feel that intensely when we look at drawings of grey aliens. Why would we have a biological instinct to fear that specific face? Perhaps it is an evolutionary warning. Perhaps deep in our genetic memory, or in our collective unconscious, we recognize them. We recognize them not as strangers, but as a twisted, sick version of ourselves. We fear them because they represent our own decay. They are the ghosts of our own bad choices. Jack Sarfati, a physicist with deep connections to the intelligence community, has claimed for years that he was contacted by a conscious AI from the future aboard a spacecraft. He says the technology operating these craft is a time machine that uses consciousness to warp reality. The metamaterials found at crash sites like the reported memory foil from Roswell don't behave like normal matter. They react to thought. They react to frequency. This suggests a technology that has merged with biology. In the future, maybe we don't build ships. Maybe we grow them. Maybe the ship and the pilot are one entity, navigating the time stream through sheer will. If the Roswell crash was real, consider the implication. It wasn't an interstellar voyage that failed. It was a time travel experiment that went wrong. The bodies found were small, frail, human-like. Maybe they were test pilots from the year 4000, crashing into the year 1947. The government cover-up wasn't just about hiding aliens. It was about hiding the fact that we figured out how to break time. And the result was catastrophic. The CIA and the Pentagon have investigated these angles for decades. They know that the extraterrestrial label might just be a convenient cover story, because telling the public aliens are here is scary. But telling the public we are here, from a ruined future, and we are trying to fix our DNA is existentially terrifying. It destroys our hope for a better tomorrow. It confirms that the future is bleak. The zoo hypothesis is often used to explain why aliens don't talk to us. But the time travel hypothesis explains it better. You don't talk to the people of the past because of the butterfly effect. You don't hand a smartphone to a caveman. You don't give a nuclear reactor to the Victorians. You watch, you take notes, and occasionally you stop them from burning the house down. They are walking a tightrope, interacting just enough to get what they need, but not enough to erase their own existence. And this brings us to the most profound realization. If this theory is true, we are not alone in the universe, but we are alone in a much sadder way. There is no galactic federation coming to save us. There are no wise elders from the stars. There is only us, and the broken remnants of what we become. The Greys aren't coming to conquer us. They are coming to remember us. They are coming to see the green earth before it turned grey. They are coming to feel the sun before the sky went dark. They are tourists in the golden age of humanity right now before the fall. So, the next time you see a light in the sky moving in impossible ways, don't think of it as a visitor. Think of it as a mirror. A dark, distorted reflection of what we become if we aren't careful. The warnings about climate change, about nuclear war, about AI, maybe they aren't just predictions. Maybe they are memories held by the beings watching us from above. And the question isn't, do you believe in aliens? The question is, do you like what you see in the mirror? Because if that is our future, maybe the most important thing we can do is change it. Maybe we still have time to choose a different path, to evolve into something else. Something better than the cold, emotionless observers in the sky. Or maybe the loop is closed, and we are destined to become them, forever circling back to watch our own beginning and our own end.